Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Monday live stream. So, with a lot of things to go over, let's just jump right into it. So, today, as you have been checking your portfolio, know that it's a red day, pretty much down across the board. And there was the usual 10 a.m. dump. So, here we are right now. And I think the S&P 500 is actually rebounding after a little bit of negative news in the trad market. But as we can see right here, we are lost support from 88K. We've lost support at 87. Now we're down to 86,748. And I'm here to tell you today, it's going to get worse. And I mean, it could happen. I mean, we could have a little rally today, but over time, I think December is not looking too good. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the negative aspects, or the, I don't know if it's negative, but the bearish. And then I want to go into something that is incredibly bullish, which when I read this, moving forward, I'm like, this makes total sense. This is why they're doing it. I get it now. So we know that, of course, 86K is here. And the question then, of course, is, well, what's going to happen, Rob? Is it going to be Q1, Q2, and we're going to see some massive liquidity, even though we have all-time high for M2 money supply, US money supply? We just stopped quantitative tightening on December 1st. We're getting quantitative easing right now. Rates are being cut just like we did before. And then, of course, is it the next banana zone because of the ISM manufacturing PMI or the ISM services PMI, which is above 50. It's anybody's guess. And people have no shortage of telling you what they believe is going to happen. I have no idea. But for me, when I take a look at it, I just think to myself, where am I? What am I doing? Me personally, we've talked about this a bit, I am short-term bearish, but I continue to buy Bitcoin every single day, and the risk levels keep going down. I have actually been doubling, and then pretty soon I will be tripling, then quadrupling everything as it goes below the risk levels of 0.4 to 0.399, which is roughly around 84,000, somewhere around there. And that could actually happen today, but I've already bought my Bitcoin stance at this moment. So that is what is going on. And just like Tommy Crown says right here, look, the reason why I'm buying is because I've learned my lesson. I learned in 2018, and I learned in 2019 and 2020, when everything was going down the tubes, especially with this coronavirus. And then all the shipping the supply chains were ruined. And then, of course, we were going to lose half of the world's population. So there was no reason for Bitcoin to ever come through. And of course, China had banned it for the 12,000th time. It just keeps going on and on and on. So I don't know where we're going in the long-term trajectory. I have an idea. Short-term, anybody's guess. But Tom Crown says like this, and he's right, Bitcoin continues the longest consecutive extreme fear streak in history. That is saying something, because we've only fallen about 32%, 33% from its all-time high. So what do you think is going to happen if we keep going down? Because, as you know, I still believe in the 4-year cycles, and so far they played out. The high was in Q4 of 2025 on October 6th. So let's see if it works out and we can go from there. But I will say, it's, as far as like things lining up, you know what's great about these, wow, 86,300, really dropping like a stone, 86,372. What's great about these risk levels is you can kind of see over here how they played out over time. And you can just see that, you know, it's a pretty good idea, you know, when risk levels were, you know, February, March, when we were at 56,000, maybe you didn't want to buy 56,000. Maybe you want to just kind of wait a little bit, take some profits. But people say, well, that's not the high, Rob. The high was 64,000 in April and then 67 in November. Gotcha. But, you know, you're right. But would you have been okay if you just sold a little bit at 56,000 and then we plummeted all the way back down in November to a price of 17,000? I'm just saying, it's just one of those things. And then as we take a look here, and people are saying, well, this isn't the same thing, it's not the same thing. And you're right. We did a video and we took a look how things are definitely in this cycle. However, some things are made the same. And what's weird about this, take a look at the historical price index today. Like we said, we're at 0.406, 0.406 on the 15th of December, 2025. And that is after an all-time high. When did we do that last time? Funny enough, if you go back to 2021, and we went from its all-time high from 10th of November, and we went down to December, roughly around the 9th of December, the risk levels went from 0.5 to 0.406 in 9th of December. So these don't match up perfectly, but I just find it interesting that in December 2021, again, 4-year cycles, Q4 topped out in November. We had a risk level of 0.406 in December. Now we're on 15th of December 2025. We've already hit our all-time high in Q4, and we're at 0.408, roughly a week apart. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about what the heck is going on and why is it dropping now? Well, there's a ton of different reasons it could be, but here's part of it. I personally believe it is just a lot of institutions playing their games. I know that every day at 10 a.m. roughly, or every couple of days or 3 days, Jane Street apparently is dumping Bitcoin and then buying back as it tanks. And that's why it's been fluctuating from 90,000 to 93, 94, back to 90,000, 93, 94. Today, they're having a great time because it's at 86,000. So congratulations to everybody else who's screwing around with the market. Have fun. I'm just here to dollar cost average and then sell later. But as you all know, Japan is going to be hiking rates, and some 0x Nobler. We talked about this yesterday with Jerry. Bitcoin dumps usually 20 to 25%. Now, this doesn't happen every time, but historically speaking, when Japan starts to raise their rates, it is a problem for the entire world. And we talked about the carry trade. This could happen again. Could it be 20, 25%? Could it be 10%? Not for sure, but I don't think it's priced in yet. And again, this happens this week, so we'll see what actually happens from there. Also, a bit more bad news. Don't worry, I'll get to the good news in a second. Bitcoin miner capitulation. This is from BitGet, and this was actually was floated around in X this morning as it looks like Bitcoin miners in Xinjiang in China. I think I said that right. Looks like they're all shutting down. And this isn't like people are like, who cares, Rob? Because China keeps doing stuff like this all the time. Didn't they ban mining not too long ago? You're right, they did ban mining. But if you can take a look here at the Bitcoin mining map, where do you see the most amount of hash rate coming from? Oh, that's right, it's from China. China. And of course, the United States, as we are crushing it over here. Foundry USA pool. But yeah, China still, for some reason, it gets banned. But, the Bitcoin mining operation, we're going to ban it, wink, wink, nod, nod, and they keep going through. But now it looks like they're shutting down. It's like mining farms in Xinjiang are reportedly closing fast, and the Bitcoin hash rate drops 8%. What's that? Well, that is essentially all those GPUs, I guess not GPUs. Well, yeah, the mining operations that are out there, and they use a massive amount of compute or computational power to put those blocks or mine the blocks for every 10 minutes. Then, of course, when this happens, you have an increase of Bitcoin hash rate. But you can see over here that it actually tumbled from 8th of December. It went down. But look at this one. This is quite a little bit of a drop from no, it's not. Oh, it is it. 15th of December to here. That's what they're complaining about? This is a bunch of. So yeah. Oh, I take that back. Okay. 15th of December. See, this is the problem with when in doubt, zoom out. Sometimes I want to zoom in and scare everybody. But as I zoom out, I'm like, this is not a big deal. But you went from 1.011 ZH to down to 841, which is quite a bit of a drop. But if we just take a look at that in context, where we're at, okay, sure. But there's one more thing to consider about for Bitcoin mining operations. Hash rate goes up, difficulty goes up, and that's it. However, when the difficulty rate goes down because the certain Bitcoin miners are capitulating or they're stopping, what does that mean for the other miners? Well, it's not so difficult to mine Bitcoin. And it's not so difficult to mine Bitcoin. They don't have to go full throttle for all the computational power actually needed. And they can reduce the amount of computational power that's needed to mine a block every 10 minutes. And if they reduce the power consumption, they can cut their cost to mine each and every Bitcoin. So if China wants to do this, that's great. Shut them all down. And we'll take it all over here and we'll carry the load. That's fine. So when you hear stuff like this, just be like, who cares? Bitcoin mining operations go down. Difficulty levels adjust. The difficulty level itself is adjusted every 2 weeks. So it doesn't happen automatically like that. This is from Coin Wars. But you're going to see that the next difficulty adjustment is going to be on Christmas. So that'll be a nice little Christmas present for everybody as the difficulty goes down. Bitcoin miners don't have to work so hard, and they can actually mine more Bitcoin, and they can mine more Bitcoin at a lesser amount. That means they don't have to sell it so frequently, and maybe we can put a stop to a little bit of the reduction or the sell pressure that's going on. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. Not a big deal. And then just something to throw in there, something to look at if you're into this is you can take a look at the hash ribbons indicator. And what this is from Bitcoin Magazine Pro. You can identify periods when Bitcoin miners are in distress. It may be capitulating. And we can see that right now, when it's in this pink or very dark pink, you can see that there's a capitulation. This doesn't really line up too well, but we know that there's a little bit of distress because it's very difficult to mine Bitcoin and pay and keep the lights on and things like that. So right now, they could probably use it for, the difficulty to adjust. They don't have to do so much, but it's right there for you to see. So I will be happy with that. But the last question before we get to the bullish stuff is, why is China doing this? I think there's one reason why they're shutting it down. Maybe they wanted to be leaders. Maybe they still are doing it. I mean, if we take a look over here, I mean, it looks like they have 21% of the hash power in China. So if it reduces by 8%, okay, but it's not everything. I think what it comes down to is AI. If China wants to win the AI war, the one thing they're going to need is a lot of electricity. And because of that, if they can shut down these operations, they can save electricity and put it into AI and the different data storage centers. This is from OpenAI. They plan that they're going to need 125x more energy capacity in the next 8 years. So why wouldn't they just get in front of it right now? This is the power demand from AI data centers to quadruple in 10 years. So again, I can see why China's doing it. I think they're doing it wrong, whatever. And then just for reference, if kids or grandkids out there are like, hey, what should I do? Should I be a coder or should I be in customer service, stuff like that? I think those jobs are gone. I mean, for the most part, there's less of them. But Jensen Huang says it right, says it correct. And he is the CEO of NVIDIA. The next generation of US millionaires will be plumbing and electrician. Did you know the Department of Defense is looking for 60,000 electricians and welders and they can't find them because they don't exist? Because for some reason in this country, we let that go. But if you're looking for a new occupation, I think that's it. I've seen people making, 6 figures easy with their own business. So again, AI, I think it'll do quite well. You can just see here, this is the total electricity in countries. Look at China blowing through everything as they're just needing massive amounts of electricity. Looks like they are at 10,000 terawatt hours, which is much more higher than gigawatt. US is 4,300 and they're falling off, but they need a lot of electricity. And then we'll see what happened here. Oh, last thing, I guess, was the electrical consumption. People will ask, well, it looks like China's going into solar, like Shamath talks about. And you can see it here that, yes, they are running up solar for some reason, going higher into solar and wind. But as a reminder, the main consumption is still oil, coal, and natural gas. As they've increased their solar power requirements to put things in for electricity, so is oil, coal, and natural gas. I think that's where it's mostly going to come from. But that's just a little side note. Let's get on to the good stuff. So we talked about the bad stuff. I got you, bearish. I mean, if you think that's bearish, I mean, it's up to you to decide. But just so you know, I'm buying. So that's one good thing. Michael Saylor's buying. He bought a little bit more than me today. He bought $980.3 million of Bitcoin and bought him in at 92,098. So he didn't hit the low of 86,000, but he's doing better than when he bought at 126K or 125K. So congratulations to Michael Saylor and Strategy, knocking it out of the park. And that's great for Bitcoin. But this is the one that made me really sit back and think about it. JP Morgan. When I'm doing these shows, I know a lot of you are probably thinking in your back of your head, like, what does this really do for me? Like, how does this make things easier? Like AI, we know how AI works, right? You go to ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity or whatever else you want to do, and it can spit out some really great answers. You don't have to do some searches. It can generate images. It can generate summaries. It can generate Excel spreadsheets. It can do a ton of things. It can even book you a flight if you have an AI agent connected to it. So you see where the utility is. But sometimes with crypto, you're like, do we need another layer 3 something that's going to maybe work out? Or what's the whole point of this? So I go to a DEX and I do this, and I can get another coin that is a meme coin that does absolutely, what am I doing? What am I doing this for? This right here makes a lot of sense. When I first read it, I'm like, I don't get it. When I went deeper into it, this I think is the future. JP Morgan steps further in crypto with tokenized money fund. The most boring subject you can think of, a money fund. But just wait. First of all, how much can you get from a money fund? What's a money fund, first of all? So you go to your bank, you go to your credit union, and they say, look, instead of a savings account, we're going to give you a mutual money fund or money fund. And what we can do is you can deposit so much in here, and we're going to give you a nice yield. It could be 4.5, 4.2. This is like the top rates. This isn't like medium. These are, which I think are awful. 4.5%, 4.25%. So you put like $100,000 in or 10,000 in. Over the year, you're going to get a whopping 4.5%. And they're going to put that into, T-bills, treasuries, very safe, CDs. I mean, stuff that are really safe stuff that you know you're going to get, right? That's a money market account. Boring as hell. However, JP Morgan made it quite exciting. Here's what we got. JP Morgan, they're going to seed this fund, this Ethereum-based money market fund, with their own money of $100 million of its own capital. First of all, why is JP Morgan so great? Well, first of all, it's one of the biggest banks in the world. And they have, I want to say it's 4 trillion, but they say here it's 3.7 trillion assets under management as of March 31st, 2025. That's right from their website. So they're going to seed this fund with $100 million of its own capital. They're going to call it money. That's pretty good. My on-chain net yield fund, MONY. Private fund is supported by JP Morgan's tokenization platform, Connexus. Connexus, digital assets. It's only open to qualified investors or individuals with at least 5 million investments and institutions with a minimum of $25 million. The fund has a 1 million investment minimum. So if you got that, have fun at JP Morgan. Why is this important? Well, it's what John Donahue said. He's the head of global liquidity at JP Morgan. There is a massive amount of interest. There's a massive amount of interest from clients around tokenization. And we expect to be a leader in this space and work with clients to make sure that we have a product lineup that allows them to have the choices that we have in traditional money market funds and blockchain. Again, boring. What does this all mean? What does this all mean? This is what it means. Stick with me because this is important. Traditional versus tokenized money markets on Ethereum. I'm not JP Morgan, you're not JP Morgan. You may not have 25 million, you may not have 100 million, you may not have $4 trillion like JP Morgan does. But when they do money markets, it's not so much about saving a little dollars and cents here, it's timing. And it's how much they can stick it in there to get a bunch of APY out. Here's how traditional money markets work. You have, it takes on banker hours. It's only 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, closed on weekends. Why does this matter? I'll tell you in a second. And when you want to process it, you want to sell something, or you want to collateralize something, or you want to get a loan, it takes the time to settle plus 1 day. So if you did that on like Friday evening, good luck, you're not going to get it until Monday. That's the banker hours. We all know that, right? Here's how it works traditionally. An investor says, I want to do a money market. Great. We're going to go through, the bank that we just took a look at. Not JP Morgan, but like some other smaller bank or any kind of bank. Okay, first you're going to have broker fees. Then you're going to go through a clearinghouse, which is high fees, and then you have to wait because they want to make sure that this is actually happening. They have to double check and everything else, a lot of paperwork. Then you have the bank, which has its custodian fees, and then you get to your money market fund. So you have to go through all those steps just to put in the money market fund to get your 4.5%, maybe 4%, right? Collateral is inefficient. You must sell shares for cash if you want to take out a loan. Although I don't think that's 100% true. I think in some money market accounts you can leave the cash in there and get an actual account or to get a loan. But this is what I have here. And then there's siloed ledgers, reconciliation needed. That's why it takes so much time or whatever else. So why is it so important for JP Morgan? Again, if you got 25 million, 100 million, $4 trillion, whatever else it is, it's not so much about the percentages. It's about the time. And if you're getting screwed out of time, especially 2 days, 3 days, or heck, even 4 days, how much money are you losing on a 1 year, 5 year, 10-year basis when you can put it through Ethereum, make sure it's instantaneous, you can have a smart contract, you can audit it right there. There are very few fees as far as like brokers, clearinghouse, and custodian banks, and you can make it just happen. If you can accelerate all those things, and you can send this to your clients, how much further would you be as opposed to the old system? And that, I think, is why tokenization is something that could be very good. And then Matt says, but do we really want a tokenized world being under control from Ethereum, or better to be your own bank with Bitcoin? Something to think about. I don't care if it's about should we be it under Ethereum or this or that? I don't care which one wins. And let's be honest, Ethereum isn't like the most speediest, stealthiest type of thing that's out there. We need to get in there a little bit so they can figure it out and go, okay, this actually works. This actually has utility. We can actually make this actually run, and we can send this up to our clients, and we can explain to them like, hey, this is a lot better than going to Uniswap and getting a meme coin. We're going to make you a lot of money. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. So I still say that all these things, and we can take a look at superiors, it comes down to the best. What are the best? Some of you are going to disagree with me, and you're probably right, actually. But I still see it as, and I thought it was all about stable coins. The best is Binance, Ethereum, Solana, and Tron. And if we take a look at stable coins for the volume, that's the highest ones that are out there. And Ethereum is just the winner right now because it was one of the first, and Wall Street is gobbling it up. So these are the things that I buy Bitcoin every day, and I'm buying some of these every couple of days. And that's where I think things go. And now I see it because of what can be done here. And it's not just about, because even if they do this tokenization of assets, and I get that, it's not totally free to do, like as far as like broker fees, clearinghouse, custodian, bank fees. Because don't we have gas fees on Ethereum? Even on layer 2 solutions, even though it's cheap, there are some gas fees, which is what Robinhood is doing with arbitrage. However, again, it's not so much about saving the fees. That's nice if they could. What it is about time. Time is the most valuable asset that you can possibly have. And if they figured out how to cut down time by 24, 48, and 72 hours to be able to invest that perpetually and to take things out and collateralize, that's it. I think this could do very well. So we'll be following that, and we'll go from there. And that is why I'll be going to Tokenized Puerto Rico. This isn't a salesy thing. I'm just going to go there and talk to some people. But I found this interesting because as far as like tokenization of assets, I want to meet this guy, Nick Colvin. He's going to be tokenizing real estate, transforms farmland through Grow Estate's tokenization model. That's cool. Tyler Elber for healthcare, redefine behavioral health real estate. Okay, now we're talking. And then I think this guy's real name, James Chippendale, reshaping hospitality investment by tokenizing premium eco resorts. I think the future is tokenization, and really what it comes down to is time. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Everything we talk about is time sensitive. Now let's get into a little Q&A. I'll answer all your questions to the best of my abilities. I don't know everything. And then we'll go from there. All right, everybody, what do we have? Let's see. Mr. Deep Value. ETH will outperform Bitcoin next cycle. Let's hope so. I have a big fat bag of that. So yeah, that'd be good. Tony says, if this is the bear market, aren't we hitting last bear market low regions much quicker than normal? If Bitcoin bear market low is going to be 50K, we're over halfway there. Well, it's by percentages. So in 2013, it was 87%. 2017, it was an 85% drop from the top to the bottom. And the 2022 drop was roughly 77%. So if we're going from 125,000, let's just say we go down, 80%, you're looking at 60,000, somewhere around there. Check my math. I'm sure it's not right. But we've already dropped 32% from the all-time high, 125, I think, to 86K. So it's anybody's guess. Again, like I've said before, like this time is different, and we did a video about it, but the 4-year cycles, even though there's a little bit difference, they're still intact so far. And I'm just curious to see who's gonna be right. Is it gonna be this banana zone PMI quantitative easing massive liquidity pump in Q1 to Q2 of 2026, or if you listen to Tom Lee, maybe 63,000 or whatever it was of Ethereum by January? Or is it going to be just repeating the same thing? We're going to have a slow bleed all the way through 2026, and because it's a midterm year for politics, and then we hit a low in October, and then we start to go sideways and up and through 2027, 2028, when we have a halving, and then 2029 blow off top. Who knows? I am excited for this. One thing I've learned, though, being this is my third, this will be my fourth. Well, it's my third because I went through 2017, 2021. I went through the 2025 cycle. So this will be eventually my fourth cycle. And every cycle I've learned something different. And just looking back, I can tell you that one of the things was if I just would have bought more as time went on, I would have been much better, even as people get scared out of their minds. Link Naz says, I think Bitcoin is not going to outperform the stock market, measured from all-time high to all-time high. Yeah, I can see that. Seems like people are risk averse. And let's be honest, I mean, there's some big plays to be had for AI. I mean, me personally, like I invested in NVIDIA and Tesla. Why wouldn't I? I think that's going to be the future anyhow. One of those is going to win. Maybe it is going to be Google. As a reminder, Warren Buffett and his company, they just put a big chunk into Google a couple of weeks ago. And they usually get in on like earlier things. Yes, I think so. Maddox says, hey, Rob, will you also do a DCA in 2026 or maybe reduce a buying for potential bear market recession? No. Will you also do a dollar cost average in 2026? Yeah, because I mean, it really comes down to it's either one or two things is going to happen. It's either going to be a slow bleed and we're going to go to around 60,000 for Bitcoin, or the geniuses are right and everything starts to take off as soon as we get a massive amount of quantitative easing. Money printer goes on and the businesses start to fly, and then all of a sudden we have a big, another blow off. We have a blow off top in 2026, and we go above 125K. At that point, I'll be selling. And little new plan will have to be used. But if that is true and we go above 125K to like 150, 200K, that's great for me. I mean, I've been buying this whole time. So we'll see. The only part that does suck is, of course, if it goes from like 125 and just crashes down to, just slowly bleeds into 60. So then I get to buy at, 86, then 80, or we get to buy, and then 70, and 65, 60. It kind of sucks. But, I remember in 2018 thinking the same thing. I'm like, damn, here I am, and Bitcoin was at 20,000. Now I'm buying at 18,500. Who wouldn't love to buy at 18,500 right now? And then I bought at 12K, and I bought at like 8K, and I bought around 5. I didn't buy at 3K. Then I bought around 5,000. Should have bought more. Sailor knows something. Well, Sailor has a thesis, and he's going to stick with it. And hopefully he's right. Tony's right. Solar equals silver consumption. I think that's one of the reasons why solar is blowing up. Andy says, how do I send your proposal in the mail, sir? I don't do any proposals. Every kind of like deal or thing that I have, it's either through people I already know and trust. I'm sorry, I can't take the risk. And that's why you never see me talk about anything. I did talk about Nexus because a personal friend of mine introduced me and I trust him. But usually you don't hear me talk about new things. That's about it. Oh, although Good news, we're going to do the 12 days of Christmas starting on December 25th, going to January 5th, and we've got most of the things lined up that we're going to give away. We've got your coin ledgers, we've got your TANGEMs, we've got your access to year-long or even lifetime services here in the crypto industry. So that'll be given away one thing every day starting on December 25th. Dan sold out with TradFi. Yeah, that's a good point. Because some people say, can we really trust these guys? No. JP Morgan, they're evil. They are. But they're kind of like a fire. Fire is really great, keeps you warm, cook your food, everything's great. Unfortunately, when it gets out of control and it consumes you and burns your house down, then there's a problem. And JP Morgan's kind of like that. Mostly all institutions, even BlackRock. So we just have to use it to our advantage and let it lay as time goes on. Look, I don't make the rules, but this is a pretty big thing for money markets. And if that can trickle down to usually it starts with the accredited investors, the people with a bunch of money. As time goes on, then it starts to get to the plebs, us. And then we can use that in a money market account. Instead of getting 4.5%, maybe we get a little bit higher interest rate because, or APY, because there's less fees. And if that's the case, then that sounds pretty good. I'll take it. We'll see. JP Morgan is value. Yeah, they're still evil, but it's true. Black Gold Soul Select next repeat. I think there's a collaboration between those two, isn't it? I saw the story briefly. Rebecca says, I love how all the big boy banks are cozying up here and trying to look all buttoned up. We are 365, 24/7. Degens are much smarter and cooler than these people. It's true. And if you think about it, we front ran everybody. We front ran everybody. If you were here before 2021, you front ran most everybody, and everybody else has been wrong. Jamie Dimon talked trash about you forever. And guess what? Now here he is doing money market accounts. Jimmy says China needs electricity from solar and batteries because they're aping into EVs like crazy, so they need to ramp up their capacity in addition to AI and cloud computing. Yeah, see how that works out for them. But yeah, I think, EVs are great. They have to make the actual batteries themselves. But I think just like America knows, they know, India knows, EU knows, every country knows. Whoever wins the AI race per se is going to be the next winner and the next big, huge global power. Just like the internet, kind of conquered that. It's good to be American. Sorry, I'm a homer. That's what it is. Matoshi says, hey man, nothing against you for sure, but you and also for the audience, I have 3 cards of TANGEM and one of them stopped working for a reason. My funds still safe, but it can happen to anyone. So yeah, whenever that personally happened to me, you should reach out to them and say, hey, one of these cards doesn't work. Give me back. Give me a whole new set and go from there. I haven't heard about that. But let's be honest. Every product sometimes doesn't work out, which is good. They give you 3 cards, right? So I actually, the first time I got a set, I had 2 cards and I lost one of the cards. So instead of just, YOLOing it, I went and ordered 3 more cards. Hey, Salt. Yeah, I'm tired too. Tokenize my please. I'm tired too, man. But, just got to keep going. I remember I was tired too in 2022 and everything's going to die. Yeah. Bitcoin only down 17%. I think that's true, actually. But, I've got 15.4%. But over 3 months, though, it's down 25%. And then from its all-time high, if we take it from here down, actually, I'll just show you. Pull back. Drawdown. You can see drawdowns here, a nice little. Oh, look at that. It was 32%. And now we're only at 31%, so not too bad. This is from the recent all-time high, which is 126K. Hey, look at that. Boom, 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 boom. Well, not too bad. Let's see. Welcome, James. 50% of retrace. I'll back in time. Marcelo says, I'm so sick of the market. Round tripping for the third time. Marcelo. Well, first of all, I mean, if you'd done a lot of Bitcoin buying, you wouldn't have round tripped. You would be actually pretty good, especially in 2017. Even in 2021, even if you bought the top at 67,000, you're still up pretty good. Now, if you bought like, Luna, name your meme coin, then yeah, I get it. It does suck. But don't worry, Marcelo, this is where we learn from our mistakes and move forward. And that's why, like, no, Bitcoin is not going to go to $1 million anytime soon. But over time, I think it's a safer play than anything else. I mean, as far as like crypto. Larry says, Rob, any vibes on Santa Rally? I mean, when that difficulty adjustment comes in, that might be something. And, but it seems like it doesn't matter the good news, bad news. It just seems like Bitcoin is destined to go down. And whether that be because of the sell-off by the institutions and the hedge funds and things like that, or like we talked about, Japanese or Japan government raising rates, who knows? But it's a funny thing because I believe Jerome Powell just talked about quantitative easing, their repurposing of like $45 billion of treasuries. It's not chump change. It seems like it doesn't really do much for us. Christmas is canceled. Yeah, and Ed's right. I completely understand. I have 3 ledgers just in case one fries. Exactly. That's why, like, for portfolios, like we've talked about many times, we talk about diversification of your assets. Right? It's not a bad idea. I know some people say, nope, just go 100% into Bitcoin. Well, if you do that over the last year, you're down like 12% or more. Actually, how much are you down? Let's see. For 1 year, wow, you're down 16%. That sucks. Yeah, 16%. But, for me, as time goes on, at some point those will be profitable. But I just think about if I'm going to diversify my portfolio, I've got, you have your real estate, you have your equities, you have your precious metals, you have your crypto. But then it's about, if I'm going to do that, I need to diversify my custody, how I do things. Like me personally, I got a big chunk over at iTRUST because I don't really like to do the ETF thing. I'd rather just have them keep it in Bitcoin. And it's the same service that MicroStrategy and BlackRock use, which is Coinbase Prime. So I just put it in there. And then there's no charge for it. When I want to take it out, it's 1%, but I'd rather pay the 1% than pay the 100% to the hack that could potentially come. And I got ledgers and tangems. So that's up for you to decide what you want to do. Where it says January 2025, all-time high was 109K. Then April was 74K. In October, 126K. Still no new all-time low. Yeah, that's one way to look at it for sure. That's weird. Hey man, I'm a virtual assistant. How well bring in crypto products? It's even worse. Definitely not going to give you any information. Yeah. Why has it moved outside? Is it real? This is not real. This is all a green screen. All of it, everything is a green screen. I think that's it. Kamikaze Kids here. Now let's leave it here. This is a good one. Wisdom says, banks and Bitcoin make sense. They will custody and sell as Bitcoin in a few months. Banks are insured. Sketchy exchanges and wallets are not FDIC insured. But future government can take your Bitcoin in World War III events. Very funny. Yeah, it's something to consider. I wonder how they're insuring their clients as it's on Ethereum. That'd be an interesting thing to take a look at. Anyhow, that's it for today, everybody. So thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. And I will see you guys on the next one. Adios.